The number one factor for success in your acting career is relationships. Now, what do I mean by relationships? Well, what I mean by relationships are any contact, any communications you have with someone in the business who ideally is in the position of eventually hiring you. But it doesn't have to be someone who could hire you directly. It could be anyone connected to those who could be hiring you directly. So that suddenly becomes quite a large list of people. And, I'm thinking on some of my own clients, how they got traction was initially with someone very, very low on the totem pole, so to speak, or someone who might have been higher on the totem pole, but further away from the decision makers than you would ever think. So I can think of two particular examples of people whose careers exploded shortly after understanding what I'm telling you right now, and that is relationships are by far the most important thing in your acting career. And how they acted on those things and how they suddenly got traction almost instantly once they applied their efforts into developing those relationships. So first person that comes to mind, I'll give you the smaller, exciting story, and then I'll leave the really exciting one for after. But the first story is a client I had that moved to Atlanta from Mississippi and, Tennessee, I believe. Tennessee, moved to Atlanta after, working on some relationships where she was in Tennessee, which wasn't a big production hub. But when she got to Atlanta, she started connecting with people and, trying to get some meetings with people. And one day I just told her, you know what? Why don't you just drive on to one of the lots there? And of course I got all the objections. But David, they're not going to let me on. But David, there's security. But David. I get a lot of but Davids. In fact, I should change my name to But David instead of David, because that's how people talk to me, But David. Anyway, so I said, you know what? You got a car? Yeah. Okay, so just drive to the lot, drive around, see if there's an opening, and get on any way you can. Like, if you can't get in the front door, try the side door. If you can't get in the side door, try the back door. Because, these lots have multiple entrances. So she did it. One day, it took a while to kind of poke her and prod her into doing it. She finally drove onto a lot. And she parked her car, and she saw someone off in the distance. And she said, hey, I'm looking for such and such production office. It was a particular show. I think it was the show Black Lightning at the time. And this guy that she was talking to said, oh, yeah, it's over here. Actually, I work for that production, so I can escort you to the office. And on the way from the parking lot to the production office, he asked her a couple of questions. What are you doing here? Blah, blah, blah. What are you trying to do? And they had this fun little conversation. And she said, yeah, I'm kind of interested in getting involved. I'm an actor, but I'd like to get involved in the business. So he walked her to the office, introduced her. This is a complete stranger, introduced her to the production staff. And she was able to tell them what she was there for. She exchanged information with the guy, said, thank you so much for your help. And she left. She didn't, walk away with a fruit basket or anything. Nothing really happened, except within the space of a few days, that very same person who she met called her up and said, hey, we've got an opening. Are you interested? Yes. Okay. I'm passing your info on to the producers who are hiring this production assistant on set. And within a few days, she was working on a professional TV show that she had never, ever had any experience with before. And now she actually works for HBO full-time. She can read for any part she wants on the shows she's working on. And she's literally got a career in the entertainment industry that involves writing, reading, dealing with producers, auditioning for parts. She could pretty much do whatever she wants because she has developed these relationships. Now, the second story, and by the way, this person has only been doing this for about a year. So unbelievable opportunities she's now surrounded by. The other person, this is a really exciting story. This person lived in New York City, and they had done the student, they trained as an actor. Then they were trying to get involved in the business, the usual way, submitting themselves for projects, having very little success, did a few student films. That was about it. Did a little background work. And this guy happened to be very tall. So the background work he did was actually wearing these like monster costumes, monster suits, they call them. And so he had played a couple of those for one of those Men in Black movies. And he dressed up like some big alien. But he didn't do anything about it, just didn't see the benefits and the potential for what he had done already. So I said, well, hey, do you know any people in the business? Because I'm all about relationships. He goes, no, not really. So we talked about some of the stuff he had done, and he goes, well, I did this background work, and I did these costumes. And I said, oh, well, who did the costumes for you? Oh, this special effects company. I said, well, they must be pretty serious if they were working on a Men in Black film. Oh, yeah, they're Oscar winners, etc. And I'm like, oh, well, why don't you get in touch with them and say, hey, how was your relationship with them? Oh, it was really good. Oh, well, why don't you just reach out and say, hey? Oh, okay, I'll try that. Picks up the phone, calls somebody from the special effects company in Los Angeles. Oh, hey, I worked with you guys on Men in Black. They absolutely remembered him because he's so tall. And they said, oh, yeah, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, just working on the acting career. And they said, oh, well, whenever you're in Los Angeles, give us a shout. We'd love to see you or whatever. So he was thinking about moving to LA. So he said, why don't I do it? I said, yeah, I think let's give it a shot. Calls them up, says he's coming out there, goes out there. They go, hey, we've got all these projects we think you'd be great for. We're going to push you. They didn't even know if he could act or not. We're going to push you for these jobs. So they pushed him for all these jobs. And they said, he's good with the suit work. He can stay in the suit for long periods of time and he's fine with it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, the next thing you know, he is up in Vancouver for 3 months working on a Netflix feature film, gets back from that shortly thereafter, books a job on a blockbuster movie, working face-to-face, side-by-side with Dwayne Johnson, and then gets a text message out of the blue from a director. He didn't even know who this person was, and says, hey, Jason, how's it going? Good. Who is this? Oh, this is so-and-so. Who is this? Oh, I'm a director of a movie. You auditioned for me. Oh, cool. And he goes, what are you doing next week? Oh, I don't know. Oh, do you want to work on Godzilla? What? Out of the blue, text message. Then he's working on Godzilla. Okay. 3 feature films back to back to back, all through the relationships of a special effects house. Never met the casting directors, had no agent, never knew anybody. These special effects people literally walked him in the door and suggested him just because they liked working with him. He didn't have a long-standing relationship with them. They just liked working with him, and they are nice people, and they knew him, and they're like, yeah, let's help this guy out, because if he's good for the role, it helps us out too. And that's the mentality you need to have, okay? If you want to build relationships, it's not, how can you guys help me? Ask yourself, how can you help them? Because if you can approach people with that mindset, here's how I can help you, why wouldn't I want to talk to you? Because if you're legitimately trying to help them and what you're saying makes sense, they'll be open arms to you. And of course, what comes around goes around. I kind of don't like that, the way that sounds, but ultimately it's true. Is if you help other people become successful, they will help you become successful. So, Napoleon Hill, I never read any of his stuff, but he wrote some books on getting rich. And one of the things he said was, and actually I thought I had coined this term, but he basically said, The more you help other people, all you have to do to become successful is help other people become successful. That's all you have to do. You don't have to think about yourself becoming successful, because if you're focused on helping them, they will naturally reflect that back to you, because they'll want to keep you around. And the way to keep somebody around is to help them thrive as well. And you become a team. You collaborate, you work with each other. You say, hey, do you want to do something? Let's do something, because I like you and I know what you're capable of. So I know who to call and I know when to call you. And you'll just have these symbiotic relationships with top people. And when things come up like that did with these special effects guys, and even a director that he had only auditioned for one time, he remembered this guy, and I don't even know how he got his text, his phone number for that matter, and neither did he. But when they know you, they think of you and they go, who could do this? And they go, oh, Jason, Brooklyn, whoever. And that's literally all you have to do, is focus on helping other people become successful. But the real key to this mindset is to not think you know what's going to happen before you do it. Don't think about the odds. Don't think about the likelihood things will work out. If you have an idea, just do it. Find out what happens. If you think you're going to fail at something, find out if you'll fail. And if you fail, great. You can pat yourself in the back and go, I knew it all along. Okay, great. So then you just go, well, what else can I do, right? Always think about the actions you can take and take the actions, rather than assuming you know what's going to happen. Because I can guarantee you, you have no idea what's going to happen. And even if you think you're sure, then fine, have a bet with yourself. But the only way to prove who wins the bet is to take the action. And then you can go, haha, I was right, I failed. Or you can go, wow, I lost the bet. I got an acting job out of it. I got a relationship. I got a job working for HBO out of it, right? So find out what'll happen. But that's why relationships are by far the most important factor in your success, because they are for life. Your talent is important, but if nobody knows about your talent, it's basically a hobby, right? You're acting behind closed doors. So get good at relationships and you will have a lifetime of success, I guarantee you, especially if you try to make all of the people you know successful. If you like this, like it, subscribe to my channel, help a brother out, ask me questions, give me suggestions. If you want to work with me, then, I do have a small waiting list at the moment, but it's always, 1 minute it's long, next minute it's gone. So hit me up, david@hackhollywood.com. Conversations are always welcome. Help me become successful, and I will help you become successful. Vice versa, I will try to help you become successful, because I know by helping you become successful, it will naturally make me successful. All right, guys, that's all I got. Have a good one.